the former CEO of WWE is now back at WWE, and oh boy, and he is now part of the board of directors. And yes, there is a whole thing article out with him right now with what he's trying to do. And he did, from what he said, he's not trying to be part of creative no more because he's seen what Triple H has been doing and has been doing for the good. And I know he's probably very upset about what he's doing, but he doesn't have to say in the creative side no more. It's now Triple H's job. So I hope he doesn't have a whole entire say in the creative side, or else WWE's doomed for the second time in a row. But he did put out a statement that he said WWE has an exceptional management team in place, and I don't intend for my return to have any impact on their roles, duties, or responsibilities. But I just feel like that's kind of cap because I can tell he hates what Triple H doing because all the people that he thought that wasn't good anymore can actually, that can't bring money to the company anymore. He cut like one of them, Bray Wyatt, biggest mistake of your life, buddy. That was the dumbest one. And some big names that we also, talk about like Hit Row and bringing back Braun Strowman and all these other ones. And honestly, I'm glad that if he is telling the truth, I'm glad that he's not going to get in the creative side because we know how Vince McMahon is. Come on, man. Let's everybody be clear. We already know how Vince McMahon is. Like for example, like what is what is Bianca, like not Bianca Belair? What is Bailey and Naomi doing at Wrestling Kingdom in New Japan? Like this, no, this is wrong. What are they doing there? They are not supposed to be there. Or this situation. Really? Like Bray Wyatt, I just cut him. I didn't want him back there because I didn't know what to do with him. He doesn't belong here. Braun Strowman, Hit Row, Keith Lee, I don't want none of y'all coming back here. What are y'all doing back? We already know how he is. I mean, obviously Keith Lee's not back on WWE, but we know how he is. Come on now. We know how Vince McMahon is in his selfish ways and only wants to see big man and the woman that he thinks that should run WWE and the men that he thinks that should run WWE. It doesn't really care about jobbers, doesn't really care about mid card talent, doesn't really care about tag team talent. That's why a lot of people left in the first place. But now that he's back, he's only going to start himself in like the board of directors, like in the sale profit. So I feel like he said he feels like the management is going like not management, but he feels like the sales and everything are going down because of the storylines of and what's everything's happening. So this is what WWE announced, today, not too long ago. Today we announced that the founder of WWE, Vince McMahon, will return to the board and said chairwoman and co-CEO Stephanie McMahon. Co-CEO Nick Khan and Chief Content Officer Paul Levesque, aka Triple H. Um, we welcome back Michelle Wilson and George Barros to the board of directors. Together, we're looking forward to exploring all strategic alternatives to maximize shareholder value. As Vince McMahon stated yesterday, WWE has an exceptional management team in place, and I do not intend for my return to have any impact on the roles, duties, or responsibilities. In connection with the change of the composition of the board of directors and the cooperation with Vince McMahon as majority shareholder, the company intends to undertake a review of its strategic alternatives with the goal being to maximize value for all WWE shareholders. There is no assurance that this process will result in a transaction. Vince McMahon, in his capacity as controlling shareholder of the company, has removed John Elton Lloyd Dillon or Jeffrey R. Speed and Alan Aim Wexler from the board. Vince McMahon, George Barros, I think I'm saying this wrong, and Michelle Wilson have been added to the board to fulfill the resulting vaccines. The board currently consists of Vince McMahon, Stephanie McMahon, Nick Khan, Triple H, Steve Coonan, Michelle McKenna, Steve Pamon, George Barros, Michelle Wilson, and some other names that I probably don't know. But he's doing this because he wants, WWE to get a potential buyer. I guess I think he wants, someone to buy WWE, like, for so they can host their like shows and everything like that besides Peacock. Um but from a marketing standpoint, and everything, and from a business standpoint, Vince McMahon is that type of person because yes, he still is the CEO of WWE, and he does hold multiple shares and basically most of the shares. So kind of anything for him, whatever he says goes. Not on the creative standpoint, more like the the sales, the stocks, that type of standpoint. And from what they're saying, that they said from his return, they said if you don't hire me on the spot, if you don't let me come back, then I don't know what the fuck he was gonna do. Honestly, I really don't know. Like literally, there's literally an article about his return and everything because he technically returned today, and they said that they said he said that my term will allow WWE as well as any transaction counterparties to engage in these processes, knowing they will have the support of controlling shareholder. He said WWE shares were marked 15.5% higher in early Friday, trading to change hands at $82.23 each. A move that would value a Stanford uh, Connecticut-based group at around $6.13 billion. Um, they said that the WWE said it founded around 14.6 million in on-record expenses made during by the former CEO over the past 15 years, and told the Securities of Exchange Commission it would need to revise some of its financial statements as a result. World Wrestling Entertainment generated 304.6 million revenues over 3 months ending in September. The group's third quarter up to 19% from the same period last year, following the multi-year contract partnership with A&W, the network partially owned by Walt Disney, and also probably as well Peacock. The group also improved its forecast for full year operating profit to the higher end of between 370 to 385 million in early May. In tally, it said reflected growth in our media segment as well as a shift in the timing of revenue related to certain licensing agreements. Mr. McMahon purchased his father company, saying in back in 1982 for $500,000, and just went on from there. So basically, all this is basically money standpoint of money standpoint of things, because obviously he loves the WWE, he loves what he does, and he wants his company to thrive and get better within time. And I honestly feel like that's what's happening. Like obviously, what's happening with the WWE now, with the story, with the character development, with people getting like the titles what they want, people seeing like the merch going up in sales. Like obviously, it's getting up there. But I feel like he wanted like the push from money standpoint. He wanted to push all that to the moon, to the stars, because he wants his WWE to be. It's probably already $1 billion company if you can speak. But I feel like sales standpoint, he wanted stuff to go his way. Not with creative side because we already know he's not going back in that field. But I feel like, in my opinion, that it's probably going to be good for WWE for him to have multiple shares when it comes to like the sales, the business side of things. Because if we're thinking about Mr. McMahon, like Vince McMahon, people compare him like like let's break this down. With Vince McMahon, you have Mr. McMahon, WWE side of things, creative side of things, when he first ran creative and sales marketing, and we have business Vince McMahon. So there's two different Vince McMahons in this situation. We have Vince McMahon, who kind of ran creative and did his own shit, which now with him out the creative spot and Triple H in the creative spot, it makes creative a lot more better and a lot more flowing. People know what they want and people get what they want, and it strives up sales and ticket sales for matches, for pay-per-views and stuff like that. And then you also have the business side of things, where he controls, who's invested into WWE, who wants to be invested in WWE, what shows are going to get the most revenue, the stuff with him with the action figures and all that type of stuff. I forgot the name of the company, but with that, and them airing, um them airing their wrestling shows on Peacock as well too. So I'm glad that he's good with the business side of things, because honestly, he's a businessman. That's where he stays. He's not a creative man, because we all know how that went. Like that, we don't need to talk about that. But this, like, it's good that he's on the business side of things, not the creative side of things, because it makes room for a lot more improvement in the creative side. And with Vince McMahon back, even though I hate to say it, he's gonna help WWE get better in the long term, and can tell what buyers want WWE and what buyers don't want WWE. So this is like a good thing for a business standpoint. And this is where he belongs. I'm glad he's not getting into any of the creative side of things, because well, Lord knows if he did, a lot of people that we love and know would probably got cut again. The same people probably got cut, or even maybe more would probably got cut. A lot of the fans will go on to either AEW or New Japan Wrestling or Impact Wrestling, so on and so forth. And yeah, you would have lost a lot of viewers in a matter of the first month if Vince took over creative. So, like I said, this is a good thing that Vince is not taking over creative again, and he's just going in there for the business standpoint, for the money standpoint, and wants his company to strive when he's dead or anything like that. Because I feel like that's what's going to happen. But I hate to say this. Um, I'm not really happy that he's back, but for business side of things, I am kind of somewhat happy that he's back, because, like I said, he is the former CEO, and plus he still has multiple shares in the company. So technically, whatever he said, whatever happens to him, and whatever anything happens, it goes through him. So I hope you can live up to your word, Vince McMahon, and actually don't get involved in creative stuff, because if he does and change up some shit, and I know if that happens, it's a Vince McMahon thing. I know I'll be pissed, and I'll probably be leaving WWE and stop watching them completely after that. I know I said that in the past. I'll stop watching WWE because of what he's been doing. But honestly, dead ass serious, if he does get involved into creative stuff, I will stop actually watching WWE and go start looking at AEW and everything like that.